wherever you are joining us. Welcome to Darwin Stadium for the Under-16 Australian Junior Championships, live and free here on KO. A big day ahead of us here to complete pool play, starting with this top-of-the-table clash between South Australia Metro and Queensland North. My name's Darren Anderson. I'm joined here by former Opals assistant, WNBL Coach of the Year. The CV goes on. Laurie Chiswick, lovely to have you here today.
Oh, what an exciting day to be involved in this championship. There's a lot of games on today that are determining top spot 1 and 2, and we know that's vitally important when you head into that quarterfinal crossover.
Absolutely. We've got South Australia Metro here coming off a 29-point win over WA Country yesterday, and Queensland North coming off a 2-point
the defensive end, 61 points. So they're very much offensive focused. If you look at Queensland North, they only allow 54 points per game, so they're a little bit more scroungy when it comes to the defensive end. So we'll see if that they can combat their offensive South Australia Metro or vice versa.
Absolutely. SA Metro with 3 of the top 3-point shooters in this tournament so far. That's Sienna Grieger averaging 18 points per game, as well as Chelsea Portis and Hannah Gardner. So some real potent outside shooting threats today for SA Metro. Be interesting to see if Queensland North have something up their sleeve to counter that.
Well, what a game Monique Babonji had against Tasmania. 22 points and 12 rebounds. Shot the 3-ball 3 for 5. So she had a really good game. Played big minutes, so we'll see if that has any influence on today's outcome.
Absolutely. Starters heading out to the floor. Starting 5 for SA Metro is Petkovic, Grieger, Portis, Konstantopoulos and Gardiner. For Queensland North, Evans, Babonji, Fraser, Bond and Bliss. Looks like we're just about ready for tip-off here. Big day of action here ahead on the Under-16 National Championships. First possession with Queensland North. Ball reverses through Edens. Penetration now from Fraser.
I like that first attack to the rim. Good push by South Australia.
And first points of the game, Hannah Gardner from Forestville Eagles opens the account for SA Metro. They force the turnover, pushing in transition. And perhaps pushed a little bit too much there, giving back the turnover.
It was the right idea for South Australia there on that transition offense. The point of the rim was where the big was running. She just didn't get positioned by the time the pass came in, and it was just being able to be deflected by Queensland North.
Queensland North to bring it back in. Some screening actions to bring the ball in through Babonji. 10 seconds to play with on the shot clock. They go inside once more. They'll keep possession. 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
When you see these girls posting up, I just want them to be a little bit lower, just to have a stronger stance, so when they receive that ball, they can handle the physicality.
3-point shot off the mark. SA Metro coming up with possession. A foul called on the rebounding contest. It'll be an SA Metro ball. Queensland North stepping up. Not quite into some full court pressure, but just making the point guards earn it, getting it over halfway.
I like that. I think anytime it doesn't have to be full court trapping. Nice basket, nice dribble penetration there. Anytime you put a little bit of pressure, it means the point guard can't think about what play they're going to call, what position they're going to go into. They have to think about the defense.
First points of the game was for Queensland North, courtesy of Sage Evans, 14-year-old from Cairns. Queensland North now looking to push in transition, 3-on-2. They exploit it well. Well finished by Tiana Bond.
Tiana Bond, that was, she really put the Jets on there, ran right by her player, and what a great transition basket.
We did talk about, managing minutes, managing load. Both teams now in their third game of the tournament. Works hard again just to give some support on those second chance points. And an early timeout called here by SA Metro. A run there by Queensland North gives them a 6-4 lead. And Laurie, if you're SA Metro, what are you seeing in that first 10 minutes just to prompt that early timeout?
Oh, well, I think it looks like the Queensland North is very intent on trying to get some quick baskets. So I would say that Coach Lynette Howard is talking to them about defensive transition. We need to have an early ball pickup. We need to slow it down and to enable our defense to get behind the ball and force Queensland North to play in the quarter-court and not just be out and running all the time. So I would think that that's a pretty strong message that they need to slow them down, make them play in the quarter-court.
Absolutely. And Coach Holland, part of Basketball Australia's elite female coach advancement program. Its current batch, a program that's been in place for 2 years now, giving some tremendous opportunities and trying to create some really strong pathways for coaches.
Well, she's been a head coach since in the under-16 since 2014, and she's won a gold, 2 silvers, and a bronze. So she's very adept at this tournament situation, this age group. So she'll be really, on top of the instructions that she needs to give her players.
Well, let's see how well they execute those instructions. We resume with SA Metro. Ball in control, Chelsea Portis. Nice little back cut there, but picked off by Queensland North. Again, Bond being really strong on that offensive glass. Quick outlet by SA Metro. Sienna Grieger steadies the ship for them. They now find the low post. Petkovic unable to finish. The shot from Gardner off the mark.
Great second, third effort by South Australia.
Fantastic scrambling. Jump ball called. Possession arrow with SA Metro.
I think
the players seem to think it's Queensland North. The officials seem convinced that it's SA Metro. And they'll bring it down with a fresh 14. Gardner looks at the 3. Off the mark. We spoke pre-game about the 3-point shot being a big part of SA Metro's success to date. Queensland North, on the other hand, look courtesy of Claire Fraser. SA Metro burst out. And we'll wait to see who possessions with. I believe it was changed to Queensland North there. Substitutions made by SA Metro.
Good push by SA Metro, just unable to execute the finish.
That is a real part of the Australian style of play at the moment. You're seeing a lot of teams at this tournament look to try and create advantages and push in that first 8 seconds of the shot clock, aren't we? I
think that's this age group. Talking to Nathan Cooper-Brown, who's high performance manager for Vic Country, he was saying that's really this age group is all about full court pressing and running and pushing the ball. And it's when you get to the 18s, the next level, that you've got to have more skill sets and that comes into play as opposed to, really just running and not that these aren't, they don't have a high skill set, but the majority is it's really looking to push the tempo.
Having that light and shade, really important, as we now see Claire Fraser at the line from Mackay. 21 points she had in game 1 against WA. Country makes the second free throw. SA Metro now bring it down. Hannah Gardner looks into Petkovic in the post. They reverse the ball now. Into that middle on-ball screen. Such a feature of the modern game. Couldn't find the roller though. Queensland North converge on it. They now push with 3-on-2.
Great hustle for the O-board.
Turned over again. Hannah Gardner, great turn of speed. Gets another basket. She moves to 4 points. 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Very evenly poised game, 6 plays 7. Shot clock winding down for Queensland North. Three-pointers good for Queensland North. Two-pointer, sorry. Petkovic drives on the left, kicks out. Sienna Grieger leading the tournament in made three-point percentage, so she's going to be keen to let them fly if she's open today. The West Adelaide Bearcat.
Nice hands. That's one thing I really like about South Australia defensively. They're active with their hands, so they're tracing the ball. They don't just have them sort of down at their side. They're active, trying to get deflections, and that's what you need. Make the offensive player have to think about you and where your hands are.
Through a little bit of a Horns action there with the 2 elbows to start the possession. Just gets through too many hands there. Out of bounds. It'll be a Queensland North possession. Substitutions made. Sage Evans checks out for Queensland North.
That was a nice read for that backdoor cut.
Charlie Bliss with the... couldn't come up with the finish. But they regain possession. Monique Babonji looks to go all the way. Lovely finish by Babonji. Leading scorer. She had 26 points per game at the under-16 Queensland State Championships. As SA Metro bring it down quickly, put some early pressure on the rim, and will be rewarded with 2 free throws. And that will be Sienna Grieger heading to the free throw line.
You mentioned Bonji. She's a real, player to look out for the future. She's been, identified. She's got great skills, athletic, quick. We can see by the numbers of her last game that she's capable of scoring.
And handy that she's got a number of her local club teammates around her, 5 Mackay Meteors in this team. That's certainly handy, particularly when you're coming together for a campaign, that you have players around you that you're familiar with.
Oh, definitely. And that's the challenge of Queensland and North and South, is the vast distances between, cities and towns and getting together and being able to train. So they do a wonderful job.
Sienna Grieger makes both free throws. Bringing it back to a 3-point margin. 4.5 minutes to play here in an exciting first quarter. They were looking in for Ashley Johnson on the roll. Couldn't find it. Ball changed possession a few times. It'll be an SA Metro ball.
That's something that these players will improve on as they mature. It's good to see them using the pick and roll. Now they need to be able to, 1, make the right decision coming out of it, and 2, execute that. So it was the right thing to look at the roller, but you need to be able to pass into that roller opposite defenders' hands.
Gardner looks for the 3.
She had a lot of time and space to shoot that, Gardner.
Spins into the traffic. Queensland North with a pull-up 3. Wonderful move there. Extends this out to a 6-point lead. Tiana Bond with that finish.
I like how Queensland North are changing up their defense a little bit. We've seen a zone a couple of times down. Just forces the offense to not get in a rhythm, to not get into sort of any tempo and get used to the defense that's being played. I think that's great by Coach Dent.
Georgina Salandra into the game, makes her first free throw. Had a big day on the rebounds in the opening game for SA Metro. She makes the second. SA Metro 4 of 4 from the free throw line. That can always come in handy, particularly in a game where both teams are being very aggressive on the rim. Ashley Johnson.
Smart play by Ashley Johnson to not just stay out in the perimeter and be a spectator, but to dive in and assist her teammate.
Salandra being an imposing presence inside the key there, getting her way to the free throw line. Almost a little high-low action there where they went in through Letitia Wilson and then found Salandra, not the tallest player on the SA Metro squad, but certainly athletic and strong, putting herself into all those contests.
I'm glad to see the percentage of the foul shooting this game has improved, because that's something that, you know, when I was looking over stats for various teams, it's been relatively low. We called a boys game last night where both of them were 70 and 80, which was great. But overall, it's around that 50% mark. And if you're going to have a close game like you do probably at the pointy end of the tournament, you need to be nailing those foul shots.
Drive denied by SA Metro. Coco Hodges now, and one. Fantastic move coming into the game from Coco Hodges, bottom ager from West Adelaide Bearcats.
I like how she recognized that there was no, you know, they were in transition, the defense wasn't set, they weren't quite organized, and she just punched it in the floor straight away and went up strongly.
They're in the bonus now with almost 3 minutes to play in this quarter. Now, given how well they've been shooting from the free throw line, that's going to be beneficial. Salandra with 2 more points to her account. She had 6 for the game. Andriana Francis tried to just force it into the post there. SA Metro all too willing to jump on it, but kicked ball violation will bring it back to Queensland North. Keely Robinson to bring it in.
Missed that inside look there.
And substitution made for Queensland North. Keely Robertson checks out of the game, replaced by Monique Babonji. Looking in through the post again, just SA Metro, those active hands he talked about, trying to apply some pressure on the ball handler to make that pass hard.
And again, the pass into the post, you know, could have been, you know, perhaps a curl pass in rather than trying to float it high and allow the defenders to poke it away.
A little cross-screen action, plenty of movement off the ball here, a little set trying to get some looks going. Mid-range jump shot looked at by Letitia Wilson. We haven't seen much of the mid-range shot this tournament. The travel called. A lot of teams, and we saw Queensland North particularly the last game, 97% of their shots were either inside the key or a three-point shot. But you still got to take those ones where you're wide open if they give you them.
Absolutely. If you get by that first line of defense, and especially if you're a shorter guard, and there's a tall timber there waiting for you, that's when you want to use your pull-up jump shot. You know, be balanced, come off strongly.
Ball reversed, 8 seconds on the shot clock for Queensland North to work with. And the drive made by Sage Evans there. She'll head to the line, shooting 2. With scores tied, 1:40 to play in this first quarter.
One thing I like about both teams, and in fact, I've been impressed with all the teams I've watched so far this tournament, or most of the teams, is that there's been a real emphasis on dribble penetration, which we know a lot of teams do. Players on the perimeter are moving to receiver spots. And that's such a good principle to be drilling in when you're a young player. And now it's a matter of that person driving in, making the right decision at the end of that penetration.
We see a little example of that now, the drive and kick out. There's a little bit too much mustard on the shot. Queensland North pushing up now, looking to see if they can create an early advantage here. And
great
nice
decision. There's that pull-up we love.
Pull-up jump shot. from Babonji. Coco Hodges now looks on a left hand. Officials stopped and conferred. Both teams huddle. I didn't catch that low. Possibly do with the clock situation.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't think it was a foul or anything. Bit of a breather for the players, have a chance to have a bit of a chat.
Well, it's 33 degrees in Darwin today, 60% humidity, and there's only so much the air conditioning in the stadium can do,
Yes.
particularly when you're 2 games in. I mean, you've done a number of these campaigns. You was telling me earlier off air that Townsville, you had a campaign when you were with the Vic Metro women. How do you manage a team across the day when they're just in that heat day in, day out across the tournament?
What was interesting at Townsville was the under-20s that I was with, and very humid, you know, hot and humid. And when you first, we got up there probably like everybody else a day or two early, and it really only takes a couple of days, I find, to acclimatize. Really, you get used to that. But certainly we had to be really focused on our recovery to make sure that that was something we really took care of. And I would think even at this age group, under 16s, they're certainly introduced to that, what's involved with recovery and how important it is. And that's all part of being an elite athlete.
Wonderful insights there. As Chelsea Portis picked up the foul on that possession, her second personal. 3rd team foul for SA Metro. Final minute of the first quarter. It's been a treat to watch so far. But Bonji backs her way down to the post, pulls up that little mid-range jump shot. And ever since we talked about the mid-range shot, they seem to be looking at it, and it's working for them.
It's nice when that happens.
It gives them a 5-point lead, 15-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Shot off the mark from Ellie Konstantopoulos.
Desperation there.
Queensland North, strong finish by Claire Fraser. I thought they might have held onto the ball, but if you get a strong look like that, better have the points on the board. As the shot from Georgina Solandra off the mark, and as we head to the quarter-time break, a late run from Queensland North gives them a 7-point lead, 23-16. Laurie, what did you make of that first quarter?
Well, I was impressed by both teams. They had a mixture, both of them, of trying to push the ball and run and score out of transition, sometimes successful, sometimes not. But they also had some sets that they were running. I saw a flex cut in there. We saw a screen-the-screener action. And so I like that they are trying to see where shots can come from. I think that defensively, maybe I'd like to see them press up a little bit, throw a few different things at it. We saw Queensland North pull out a zone just for a short period of time. I think that's really important to mix things up, to keep the opposition guessing, to keep them out of feeling, as I said before, comfortable in what they're doing.
I remember speaking to Jan Sterling once, and she said, if the offense is going well, change the defense. Or if the defense is not going, change the defense. Just keep changing the defense across the game, just to, and it helps players on both sides. Just stay more engaged in the play, which particularly if it's a hot game and you're mentally fatigued across the game, just constantly throwing those changes as a coach can just help keep your players on task.
Well, it does, and as long as you say you go into a zone and it's not thought of as, this is a break, it's a weapon, then players buy into that. And conversely, for offense, it now forces them to go, we can't run that, or we can't do that. They're blocking it in, they're closing it out. We have to now do this. So it forces, especially your point guard, to recognize that and to adjust accordingly.
Queensland North shooting 47% from the field in that first quarter, compared with 29% from SA Metro. Interesting to see if that's something they can maintain across the game.
The other thing I think both teams, and I'm not surprised because we're playing top of the table here, but their endeavor, their willingness to throw the body on the floor to try and come up with a loose ball, their hustle, I think that's been great to see.
And it'll be Sage Evans to bring the ball back in. Queensland North to start off this second quarter.
And there we see a zone from SA Metro. And that's a perfect opportunity to set up a zone when you come out of it, either a timeout or a quarter-time break.
It did well to mask it just until that pass came in. So Queensland North couldn't really pick up what they were going into.
And in fact, it might just be for one possession, or it might be, okay, if we get a stop, we'll go again, but if they score. So you can, throw different things out there. The coach can talk at that quarter-time break.
Coco Hodges, bring it back down, start the offense. Gardner now looks back in through middle. Give and go for Coco. Three-point shot off the mark for SA Metro. They haven't quite found their range on that one yet in this game. Great chase there from Eva Petkovic.
That's an example of what I was talking about, just that second effort from both teams, diving on the loose ball, wanting to come up with it.
Eva Petkovic, one of 4 Forestville Eagles on this South Australia Metro lineup.
Moving just a bit before she got handed the ball.
She's really raring to go to get into this possession.
Well, they need a good look at the basket here, South Australia.
They might take that one, although again, three-point shot off the mark. Able to work hard on the rebounds, though, Hannah Gardner. Great move. She has 6 points. Leads all scorers for SA Metro. But they're 0 of 7 now from the three-point line, SA Metro. Strong rip towards the baseline. Shot off the mark from Sage Evans.
Well, so far that zone has done its job.
Brilliant make by SA Metro. It looked like back-to-back buckets there for Hannah Gardner. Great active hands by Coco Hodges.
Yeah, and you need, sorry, Darren, you need to be in a zone. You can't just stand there. You have to be active on your feet, active with your hands. And I think this is a good timeout called by Coach Dent. Even though they got the lead, you certainly feel that the momentum had swung to South Australia's way. So, use a timeout, get on top of it straight away. He'll probably be talking about the zone right now, and this would be a good opportunity for SA Metro to go back to man-to-man.
Absolutely. It's always good when, you go to plan B, or you force the coach to plan B, and said, yeah, go, you might. And maybe if you're SA Metro, you're saying, hey, let's go back out of it for a play or two, just get them back into a sense of security and then throw it back on them. It'd be really interesting to see what they go to there.
Well, it is, because they've been successful with it. You sort of go, well, maybe we should stay with it. But I would say that that's why the timeout was called, is to address that and to just reinforce with the players, this is the options that we want to look at. So at least coming out of a timeout, maybe change it up and then go back if it's successful.
Queensland North with 1 3-point made across this game. And then you do need that dynamic, particularly if SA Metro are going to use that zone disruptively across the game. The ability to make that outside shot can just help.
Well, I think I'm surprised more teams haven't sort of mixed it up like that, because the three-point shooting across the board at this age group isn't particularly high. So, it's a good strategy.
Bonji, drive kicked it out. Great finish from Tiana Bond. She had to use her athleticism there off the cut to retrieve that ball.
Again, it was a good read to cut to the basket strongly.
Nice back cut.
Good
SA
read.
Metro, lovely finish. Ellie Konstantopoulos. She moves to 4 points. SA Metro with another opportunity. Hannah Gardner put up a strong contest there, couldn't come up with it. Early three in transition from Queensland North. Hadn't really looked inside the key at that point, but clearly feeling some confidence. They still have a 3-point lead here, 7 minutes to play in the first half. Coco Hodges spins back. Nice little jump shot there. Great finish. Great opportunity for her in her first under-16 national championships. I mean, it's everyone's first under-16 national championships here. But as a bottom-age player, really good experience for her to, experience this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've brought it back to just a 1-point ball game here. Mabonji answers back.
See, I like how they use that on-ball screen against a zone. Not many teams do that, and not many teams practice that against that. How are we going to defend that if they set an on-ball screen in the zone? And the consequence of that, she had a wide open look at the foul line.
Absolutely. Let's see how they played on this possession here. Early dribble penetration, draws the double team. Unable to find a teammate out of it, though. So another turnover for Queensland North. That's their 9th of the half. We've seen some games with high turnovers early on in this tournament as teams find their rhythm, so it's not necessarily a stat that Coach Den would be worried about necessarily, but you do want to make sure you're valuing the ball as the game goes on.
Well, I think there's, I would have classed that as a not great turnover. There's some that if you're pushing the ball and your intent is to get it ahead and it goes out of bounds, well, that's okay. You live with that because that's something you're trying to execute. So some of but the bottom line is, as a team, you want to try and have a shot at the basket every time down the court. So the more turnovers you have, the less you have that opportunity of doing. So, there's been some where it's, almost in the 30s, the turnovers, and you think, wow, if we just, cut that down by 10, that's 10 more chances to get a shot up.
Absolutely. Konstantopoulos makes a second free throw, particularly when you are having a really nice afternoon from the field goal, like Queensland North, still shooting 46% at this point.
Well, I like their shot selection. They're making good decisions. We can see here they slow it down when they needed to slow it down.
Bond open inside. They keep it going around the perimeter, though. 5 seconds to make something happen on the shot clock here.
Lots of movement on that zone.
SA Metro scrambled to regain possession. Hodges finds an early look into the post. Petkovic gives it off.
Nice pass.
Konstantopoulos. She has 7 points.
That's what you want. Your two bigs to sort of be on a string. Always knowing where each other are for high-low options or cutting options.
As they forced another turnover and a tied ball game here.
That's the sort of game we expected at the top of the table.
They're on a 9-4 run here, SA Metro. Konstantopoulos reverses it through. Sienna Grieger back out on the floor. Has had a quiet quarter so far by her standards. Have to make something work late in the shot clock. She likes the three-point shot, but not necessarily one that's given to her 1 second on the shot clock, just inside the halfway line.
Well, it's good. I could, and I'm sure she did. She heard her bench yelling out, and that's really important in those situations where you can hear your bench yelling, regardless, you've just got to get a shot up.
Almost another turnover for Queensland North, but they can bring it back down now. Bond looks out to the corner. Weak side open if they can find it. But Bonji steps back into that mid-range she's loved so much.
She has killed it with the mid-range today. And I think that's something, and we talked about this before the game, just, the amount of threes they shoot or penetration all the way to the basket, that the mid-range is almost a dying art, yet if you can have that in your weaponry, be able to shoot the three, be able to penetrate and pull up if you need to, pretty hard to defend.
Little horns action here. SA Metro finding that
that is
high
so
low.
nice. So well executed. Such easy basketball, but executed to perfection.
Brings it back to a tied ball game. Final minute to the first half here. It's been an absolute treat so far. On-ball screen lifts up from Francis. Petkovic with the rebound. Now they bring the ball down through Chelsea Portis. Reverse through Konstantopoulos. On to Hodges. Petkovic heads into the on-ball screen with Grieger. Grieger lifts up and says, if you're going to go under, I'm going to take it. But another missed three-point shot, 0 of 10 in this first half for SA Metro. They're not discouraged, though. They
No.
will look to that across the game, and probably a good sign coming into half-time if you go, hey, we haven't worked on haven't nailed our three-point shots, but we're still in this game at half-time. Nice little move there from Georgina Salandra. Effective off the bench for her. 8 points. As Hodges forces the steal. And a lovely finish from Chelsea Portis, the captain. Her first points of the afternoon. But has picked up some rebounds, steals, and assists to go with her tally today.
That's a big shot to take at this stage, as far as there hadn't been any shift in the defense, so you don't have a good chance at getting a rebound, and therefore SA Metro are able to really run and gun, and that's why shot selection is so important.
And with a foul call, that's the third team foul for Queensland North, and understandably SA Metro with a timeout up their sleeve say, well, we're going to look at one here, see what we can draw up.
Yeah, you might as well. You've got, you know, and you can really talk to the players. There's 2.5 minutes left to go in this quarter. Let's really focus on getting some stops out there and seeing if we can extend our lead, execute the way we want to. So it's a real opportunity to draw your players in and get them to really focus.
And they've really been making a lot more of their shots, SA Metro, in this quarter. They're on a 17-6 run. And I don't know if it's their breakdown of their field goal percentage this quarter, but it has certainly jumped up to 39% across the game so far. And a reminder, this is both teams undefeated to this point in pool play. And so the winner will finish first of the pool, get a more favourable crossover against fourth from the other pool in the quarterfinals. Both teams will have a day off to recover, but these are the sort of things you're thinking about, you know, as teams, is can we get the best crossover heading into the quarterfinals?
Well, one message I would be saying to my players if I was SA Metro is that Queensland had a tough 2-point game yesterday. And some of their starters played bigger minutes. We want to keep running and pushing and putting pressure on them. And we may not see the dividends this half. It might not even be in the third quarter, but hopefully by the fourth quarter, those things will pay off.
Ball brought back in. Grieger, the handoff to Hodges. To Salandra now. She gets it back. And Letitia Wilson with the assist.
Really good finish, balanced, eyes on target.
Turnover from Queensland North. SA Metro with a chance to continue this great run here in the second quarter. Open three, very open.
Too open. She thought about it for too long.
They might have another opportunity coming up soon. You get the feeling once they can just get one of those ones from outside range, they might follow in quick succession. As a foul now, it'll be the fourth team foul. And the foul called on number 4, Hannah Jensen for Queensland North.
Now, I would have liked her to just turn around. Where she received it, she was wide open. Just shoot that.
Absolutely. Another foul here would send SA Metro to the free throw line. They're 7 of 9 from the charity stripe so far. in this afternoon's game. So not really one where you want to give them those opportunities late in quarters. Five seconds, Sienna Grieger.
Oh, that's what they wanted. That's what you've been talking about, Darren. Let the floodgates open.
We shall see, but it does give them a 9-point lead now. Minute and a half to play in the first half. Bond fouled on the rebound. Looks like she might get free throws out of that.
Yeah, she was definitely going up on that. I'm glad the referees called that.
Tiana Bond had 24 points in Queensland North's first game of the tournament against WA Country. And she had a very successful under-16 Queensland State Championships campaign as well, averaging 19 points per game. No good on the second free throw, but it'd be a nice mental game for Queensland North at least to keep this to single digits at the halftime break.
Definitely, they need to get a good solid couple of stops.
Grieger, confidence high after that last make. But disrupts the shot well.
Oh, go back up.
Monique Babongi will head to the free throw line shooting 2. Misses the first. Queensland North shooting 3 of 7 from the free throw line so far in this game. Makes the second though to bring her total to 11 points. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists to start off productive first half.
Very productive.
Salandra kicks the ball out and a nice finish. SA Metro.
Really good ball movement against that zone. Just stepping out to the short corner.
Tiana Bond called for the travel on that first step. So we've still got 2 possessions, maybe 3 here to close out the first half. Both teams haven't been shy to put up a shot early in their shot clock. Salandra reverses the ball through Grieger now. Grieger pushes on her right hand, gets past the defender. Great finish. She moves on to 7 points. Babongi looks at the 3. Off the mark, 14 seconds. Should be the last shot of the half here for SA Metro. Bench counting down the clock.
Oh, that wasn't far off.
Not far off at all. And as we head to the halftime break here at Darwin Stadium, it's SA Metro, big run, 26-8 in that second quarter. They lead by 11, 42-31. Laurie, give us your thoughts on that first half.
Well, South Australia, I thought, looked really steady in that second quarter. And it was a real grind up to that. I think it was tied going into that second quarter. I thought they just looked really comfortable in what they were doing. They were moving the ball around. They were inside out. Players were moving into receiver spots. But I just thought they looked very unselfish, you know, not that anybody at this age I think is selfish, but they passed the ball really well, hit the open player, and went from a good shot to a great shot. And I think the scoreline reflects that.
And it set us up for a big second half here at Darwin Stadium. We'll be back shortly to bring you all the second half action free and live on KO.
We all seek different in our own ways, because different reflects who you are, who you want to be. And nowhere lets you be who you are and find what you seek like the Northern Territory. So if you seek different, this is the holiday for you. The Northern Territory, different in every sense.
Welcome back to Darwin Stadium, wherever you're joining us on this lovely Wednesday afternoon, here for the Under-16 Australian Junior Championships. It's been a big first half of action here in this top-of-the-table clash between SA Metro and Queensland North. Basketball Australia would like to thank and acknowledge the wonderful support of its commercial and broadcast partners for their ongoing support of Australian basketball. It's been such a big effort to pull this venue, this event originally scheduled to be held in Warwick in WA in July. And so great that these kids can experience this national level competition thanks to the efforts of Basketball Australia and their partners. If you want to look the part, if you're around the stadium or just want to look the part in your local area, for all your Australian Under-16 Championships merchandise, make sure to order your official AusChamps gear today at AussieBasketballStore.com. Joined here by Laurie Chiswick now. A tale of two quarters there and a big run from SA Metro in the second quarter. What did you see?
Well, I was sort of surprised. I feel like the game is closer than the scoreline shows. Having said that, I thought that South Australia Metro, and if they keep this level of poise and patience in the second half, that'll keep them in good stead, which is, I think, what they brought to the table straight away in that second quarter. But having said that, Queensland have got lots of guns. You know, Bombonji, we know, is a great player, and I'm interested to see what they come up with.
Seeing some of her highlights there and those pull-up jump shots from the mid-range. For SA Metro, you know, the three-point shot has been a part of their game so far in this tournament. It hasn't been working for them so far today, but it's interesting to see how they adapt to that. They've found other ways, as we can see here, to accommodate for that, getting plenty of pressure on the rim. As we rejoin here, play underway in the third quarter. SA Metro shooting to the right of screen. Early on ball screen for Petkovic. And an early steal for them as well. Turnovers were a big part of Queensland North's first half. No doubt would have been part of the half-time talk from Coach Dent.
That's right. They need to cut down on those turnovers, give themselves the opportunity to score.
Three-point look for Queensland North off the mark.
They shot 1 from 8 from the three-point line in that first half, so they've gone wanting, both teams, from the three-point line.
Sienna Grieger, first points in the half for SA Metro. She has 7 for the game, averaging 18 points per game up until this point. A quiet first half, perhaps by her standards, but we know that the West Adelaide Bearcat can really bring some excitement to SA Metro.
Well, she's quiet scoring-wise, but I still think she's been very influential on the court. She commands a lot of, you know, defensive attention, and so it then can free up her teammates. So it's, while it doesn't show on the stat sheet, she's been doing a great job.
Back-to-back buckets, just hesitated slightly, read what was in front of her, and put on the afterburners. Back-to-back buckets for her. And another steal. This time, Coco Hodges with the finish. 6 points to start the second half for SA Metro. A quick timeout called by Queensland North, and fair enough, it's out to a 17-point lead. 48 plays 31.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to blink when you started this game. That's with less than a minute has been played, and they've just stretched it right out, which is fantastic for SA Metro. That's where, you know, you come out of a half, you want to continue where you left off in that second quarter. But for Queensland, they just really need to settle now and go back to the fundamentals that have gotten them to this stage of the tournament, being undefeated in their 2 games. And I'm sure the coach will be reinforcing the points of emphasis that he has for this game.
I just said, very quick start. If you were slow coming back from the halftime break, just missed an excellent run by SA Metro. 2 baskets from Sienna Grieger and a basket from Coco Hodges as well. Point guard duo there from the West Adelaide Bearcats.
It's about handling the press too. You know, you got to get the ball over the halfway line confidently so that you can set up whatever you want to do for Queensland North.
Now it looks a little bit like a 1-2-2 half-court press possibly here from SA Metro they've come out with, just to disrupt things out of the break. Queensland North good to steady the ship there. Nice strong finish.
See what they can come up with defensively to try and stem the flow from South Australia.
Little cross screen to open up Petkovic there. Back out to Konstantopoulos. Had a nice contribution on the scoreboard in the first half. Out to Grieger looking for that three-point shot. On the mark. Her second of the game.
That's really nice when you get an offensive rebound and you can kick it out to an open person to take the three on the clock reset.
But Bonji off the mark. Bond picking up the offensive rebound. Petkovic rips it in. And now Grieger moves it off to Konstantopoulos. Hodges looks for it. Kicks out to Grieger. Left wide open again. Looking for back-to-back triples, and she does.
I love that. I always maintain that if a player shoots a three, either set up a play or get it in their hands to shoot another three. They're feeling it. They've got confidence.
2 points there for Queensland North. 7 minutes to play here in the third quarter. It's out to a 19-point lead. It's Hodges now. Gets the group settled. Reverses through Grieger. Konstantopoulos drives. Kicks out to Gardner. Her shot is off the mark, but it's a 12-2 start in this quarter for SA Metro. Bond with the rebound. Unable to finish. SA Metro to push again. 3-on-2. Konstantopoulos unable to finish. Gardner for the rebound. Bodies flying everywhere. Petkovic kicks out to Gardner. Nice kick out to Hodges. Hodges wide open. Can't finish on the three. And now Queensland North look to push in transition. Lovely push in transition. Claire Fraser with the finish.
That
Babonji.
was a pinpoint pass. Great finish with the left.
That's her 5th assist of the game.
Hopefully that'll lift Queensland North a little bit, because there's a long ways to go in this game still.
Fraser converts the play. They now get up and disrupt a little bit. Step through from Petkovic. Got a little bit of contact.
Good stop.
But there is that physicality at the under-16s level, and particularly they want to, you know, these girls are a few years away, but international play might be on their radar in, you know, a matter of years, and it is a lot more physical at the international level. So good for them to get exposure to that here.
Well, they are. They're playing against the other best athletes in the country in their age group, and so they're not going to get that competition week in and week out at home. And so, yes, it's increases its intensity, physicality, the speed of play, all those things you're exposed to when you come to a national championship.
Tiana Bond moves to 13 points, on to 14.
It's a good little run from Queensland North.
They brought it back to 14. It wasn't that long ago. They were looking at a 19-point deficit. Hodges tacks on her left, kicks out to Gardner. Gardner off the mark. A rebound by Charlie Bliss. Working into the corner. Bond and Bliss. That pick and roll. They look for Bliss off it. They do find her. They had trouble finding that roller in the first half. Much better pass there. Nice little dive to the basket there from Georgina Salandra.
Just slipped the screen there, read where her defender was. Really smart play.
And halfway through this third quarter, just manages to keep it in to Queensland North. Babonji calls for the on-ball screen, looks to attack through middle. Not with supreme purpose, though. Queensland North to keep possession, 7 seconds on the shot clock.
No, she definitely came off that screen as a passer and not a scorer. And that's the #1 rule. Come off as a scorer first see what the defense gives you, and pass second.
And you could see that SA Metro did drop in underneath there. They obviously saw, well, she's making all those shots from the, from the elbow or the mid-range jump shot. We don't want to give her that. We'll allow her to take the 3. Possibly that's a scout they talked about at halftime. Although she, right on cue, looks at the 3. Konstantopoulos pulls in the rebound.
Mismatch.
Yeah, they tried to find him with Salandra there. It was open there for a while, maybe just missed the window of opportunity. But they'll get another crack here with 9 seconds to go in the possession.
I like how the big, though, recognized that she had a smaller player on her and dove in there to try and get it and be a big target.
Konstantopoulos. And now they turn the ball over. Nice little finish from Bond. Great pressure.
Great hustle, just not saying never say die. I think it's a smart timeout called by SA Metro. The momentum certainly swung Queensland's way.
Absolutely. 14-point lead to SA Metro. 4.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. And just again, that little ebb and flowing of such a strong start from SA Metro, though. But Queensland North showing that if they continue to stay strong, they can really make a fight of this.
Well, they can, and we know they've got some potent scorers out there. We know that Bombonji and Grieger, no, sorry.
Bond is having a really...
a really influence on this game, and they can light it up just like SA Metro did at the beginning of this quarter. So, the momentum's with them truly right now. SA need to just steady. I still like the way they're playing team basketball. They're penetrating and looking for the open player who's nice and set and ready to shoot it. I like the way they're playing.
Well, exactly. You do look at SA Metro. They've got 4 scorers in double digits so far in this game. Queensland North, as has been the case for them a little bit across the tournament, strong contributions, as you mentioned, from Babonji and Bond. Bond, who's accumulated a double-double already in this game, 16 and 11. But the challenge will be, if SA Metro can continue to close down those 2 players, is where do those other contributions come from? As we rejoin play with SA Metro, or renewed pressure up in the full court from Queensland North.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Coming out of a timeout, show something different.
Bond attacks on the rise, unable to finish, but already some renewed pressure here. Coco Hodges looked in and travel call. Just wasn't quite sure whether to shoot it or give the pass, and delayed the decision a step too long.
That's what you want as a defender, make that offensive player just a little bit uncertain as to what they're going to do.
Bliss backs down in the post. Now Gardner can push out again in transition. 3-on-2. Salandra makes the most off balance. Gives the assist, and Hodges with the finish.
Great transition basketball.
Now Hannah Jensen moves it off to Bond. Steps back into that range jump shot. Off the mark. We spoke about Queensland North taking a lot of their shots in that layup or 3 sort of territory in the last game. They've really been forced to use that mid-range a lot more in this game.
Well, the thing about that shot was there was 1 pass, so the defense didn't really have to shift. Then she's making 1 move, shooting a contested shot, and SA are in great rebound position, and then they're out and running. So, shift the defense a little bit more. You'll get a shot similar to that after they've played a bit of defense. Good recognition there of a back cut. Overplayed. Her player was overplaying her. Nice cut, nice pass.
Sage Evans heading to the free throw line. 14-year-old from Cairns.
And Darren, all these things we talk about, they're going to accumulate this knowledge through repetition and maturity as they move up through the ranks, and you don't expect them at this age to be competent at all these skills that we're talking about that are desirable. And that's the whole process, and that's about talent identification and who's where, and depth charts, and giving them the opportunity at these championships to learn and explore, and you know, so yes, we can talk about this is what we'd like to see, and eventually they'll be able to do some of those things.
And so true, putting that into context, and what a great opportunity it is for these players to be able to. This is their first step in the pathway, putting on a state jersey for their state. And with the championships being cancelled last year, the last time, or the only time players may have seen something anywhere around this level might have been at the under-14 club championships a few years ago. Scrambling here, jump ball called. Possession arrow staying with Queensland North, so shot clock will stay right where it is on 9 seconds.
There's some 13-year-olds out here, you know, that are being yet to turn 14, and so when you put it in context and you really peel it back, I'm so impressed with the level of talent that is on display at these championships.
And credit where credit's due to the coaching staff as well, you know, team management, volunteers that, you know, are taking time off work or to, you know, to really put their time into this campaign, giving the girls the best experience they can, not just at this tournament, but in the months of lead up, and of course their local coaches around in their domestic and representative comps as well.
Oh, spoken very truly, Darren.
3 seconds to make something happen on the shot clock. That pass just a little bit off the mark. Great defense by SA Metro. 2.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. They lead this by 16. The scoreline just seems to have steadied around that mark in the last 3 or 4 minutes. So Queensland North would love to just work and get this back to single digits at three-quarter time if they can. Portis, captain, comes off that screen, looks through middle, lovely finish from Portis. She moves to 4 points. Bond just slipped, taking a moment to get up. A few players slipping now. I mean, it is 33 degrees and high humidity in Darwin. There might be a little bit of sweating around on the court. Kicked out from Solandra, the three ball.
You've got to love that. Inside, outside, back out to a three-point shot.
And now they find Bond in the post. SA Metro descend upon her. They get the steal. Now coming through in transition. And we've got a foul called. It'll be a baseline ball for SA Metro.
So I just noticed on that last play phase for South Australia Metro, when Bond went inside and was, you know, grappling with sort of 4 players, 4 Queensland North players stayed on the perimeter and didn't move. Now, whether fatigue is starting to creep in from yesterday's game or not, but you can't be, you have to move.
Portis, back-to-back buckets for her. Last 7 points, I should say, have been courtesy of her hands. How can Queensland North respond now? Babonji. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Spins back, steps through. Lovely move.
The poise shown in that shot, the recognition of where your defender was, and to keep in the shot, get your head up and shoot that balance, that was lovely to watch.
Love a step through move, and that brings her through onto 13 points to go with 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
She's been really fun to watch.
Hodges looks in early to Letitia Wilson, unable to finish. Last minute of the third quarter, out to 21 points now. A nice finish by Queensland North. We talked about them looking to get it just to single digits. Now they're just looking to probably get a stop and a make here to close out the quarter. Portis finds Solandra. Letitia Wilson wants it inside. Gives it back to Solandra with a nice pull-up jump shot.
Great little two-man game there. Just simple basketball.
15 seconds.
Whoa.
A nice jump shot, a contested shot to put up with, and knowing that you're going to give a possession back to SA Metro. But if you make it, you're the one that gets the applause.
That's the thing, isn't it? As a coach, you're sitting on the bench thinking, last shot, last shot. You know, hold it up, and then it goes in, and you go, okay, great shot.
So 5 seconds to play here. Queensland North working out who's going to bring it in. It'll be Hannah Jensen to bring it down. Oh, turns the ball over. Hodges with a second to make something happen. Was fouled, it looked like. Oh no, a turnover, I should say, from Hodges. So a second to play here. Chance for a quick shot if they can turn in here. And the clock will expire. We head to the three-quarter time break. Another big quarter for SA Metro, 25-17. One of our biggest scoring quarters, our biggest scoring quarter of the game so far. The game is starting to open up a little bit.
Well, I must say, Darren, I'm sort of surprised. I thought it would be much closer given the tight tumble that we had, especially in that first quarter. But I just feel South of Australia Metro have really sort of risen to the occasion, if you like, is in that they're the way they're moving the ball, the way they're looking for each other is I really like. And defensively, they're getting the stops that they need. Queensland just look a little underdone in what I think they, you know, their structures probably aren't just working for them right now, and because perhaps they're a little bit fatigued, they're not cutting as hard and moving as hard, and so therefore making it easier for SA Metro to get their hand in a deflection and get a steal.
And no doubt, still plenty of time for Queensland North to create something out of this and fight for the result. But knowing that this is also, you know, first v second, you know, if the scores stay as they are now, SA Metro secure that top spot, Queensland North secure that second spot. At what point, in, you know, knowing this is tournament play, as a coach, do you sort of try maybe some new structures and think and maybe manage to get some different lineups out there versus trying to push for the win in this game?
Well, I think that we'll know that in the first few minutes. If Queensland North can come out and get on a run, you know, a 10-0 run or something, and have the momentum and feel like they're right back in this, well, then you absolutely go for the win. But if it comes out, and even if it sort of stays even right now, I mean, it's almost a 20-point game. I think then you start looking ahead, and you perhaps get some of the players that haven't played as big minutes in, get some, you know, some miles into their legs, and like you say, some different combinations, and maybe try some different defenses to just see what it looks like, because, you know, if you go to the pointy end, you could come up against SA again.
Absolutely. Well, you do look, Babonji, 28 minutes, Fraser, 26, Bond, 24. It looks like they've kept, just looking out there, I can see Bond is out of the game. They've kept Babonji out there, so they'll probably give it a few more minutes, as you said, and see what sort of momentum run they can create, and then reassess after that. Jensen with the ball now. This is the handoff. Nice little move and drive to the rim. Claire Fraser. Yeah, 21 points in their first game against WA Country. This has 8 in this afternoon's game. Salandra drives on her left. Just misses. Looked a good drive. For Bonji, guarded by Portis. Ten seconds on the shot clock.
Now that's nice movement.
Jump ball called. Your Queensland North possession.
I like that from Queensland North. That looked good, and that to me looked like the sort of movement they need in order to get back into this game.
Great opportunity. Shot just off the mark from Monique Babonji. Grieger reverses through Salandra now. Finding Letitia Wilson, back to Salandra. Lovely give and go. moves on to 14 points, Georgina Salandra. After a little spell, Tiana Bond checks back in, replacing Keely Robinson. Hannah Jensen, the bottom ager from Mackay to bring it back in. Lovely back cut from Bond off the mark. And it's like a moving screen called there on Ashley Johnson, Queensland North. That's her second personal foul. Portis, the captain, brings it up with purpose. They reverse the ball. Little high-low sort of action there. Brings Salandra inside. She's been so good. And 178 centimetres, she's not the tallest player, but she is playing with such strength and athleticism that you can see why they consistently put her in those positions.
I think their bigs have been great, not only in what they're doing scoring, but in their decision making. So they've used that pinch post a little bit, and that decision of whether to pass it, shoot it yourself, look at your other post. I've been so impressed with that aspect of their game, their bigs.
Grieger makes the pass down to Casey Reel. Now looking through Tisha Wilson. Oh, and a wonderful finish.
Oh, I love it. We're just talking about the bigs, and then she comes up with a beautiful finish like that. They're just being so poised out there. They don't look rushed. They don't look frazzled at all. They're just playing with a lot of confidence.
Letitia Wilson of the North Adelaide Rockets. 4 points in this game so far, 6 assists. And just pushes it back out to a 24-point lead, I should say, with that 3-point play. Continuing the pressure up does Casey Reel. Ten seconds on the shot clock for Queensland North. Babonji looks to create something with Bond on the back cut. Nice finish.
Great read. Just really set her player up. Nice little backdoor cut.
Portis kicks the ball out. Grieger. Now back through Letitia Wilson. She's been so good as a facilitator in that high post.
She has.
You mentioned the pinch post earlier. Nice finish from Bond. She moves to 20 points. It's a game high, leads all scorers in this game. Grieger steps back, makes the three. Her fourth of the game.
Real spread of scorers, as you mentioned earlier, Darren, in the South Australia Metro team. It's so much harder to scout and to prepare for a team when you've got a range of scorers.
Casey Reel off the mark there. We talked about Grieger leading the competition so far in 3-point makes. She had a quiet first half, and she's about 1 of 8 or 1 of 9, but she's made up for it. I think she's almost hasn't missed. She's maybe 3 of 4, I think, in this second half. Timeout called here by Queensland North. Not long to go now. 6.5 minutes to play. And what do you think the message would be? They're down by 18 at this point.
Well, I think actually they're down by a little bit more than that, Darren.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, 23 points. I think at some stage, whilst you want to keep your star going and moving, she played big minutes last night in Babonji, and she's had a great game so far today, but I think it's an opportunity to give some of your other kids that haven't perhaps played as many minutes so far in this game, you know, because sometimes a bench player hasn't played a lot, can just come in and light it up. And so why not roll the dice? I think 23 points, the way SA Metro's playing, is probably a bit insurmountable at this time. But you know, you never want to throw in the towel, but you have to be smart about what's ahead.
Absolutely. The Did You Want 5 minutes and 40 seconds, should say, coming out now. Bliss can't hold on to it. SA Metro now bring it forward. Almost picked off by Keely Robinson. But you're right, particularly investing in that depth where you can, and yes, they possibly would have hoped to be a little bit closer in this point in proceedings, but, you know, to give a confidence boost to a role player in the team or to try some new things at this point could pay dividends for them later on in the tournament. 10 seconds on the shot clock for SA Metro. Grieger looks to make something happen. Kicked it out to Petkovic. 2 seconds to go. Gardner's got to go. Unable to finish. It will be a Queensland North ball. They've kept Monique Babongi out there. And Tayana Bond. It's 5 minutes to play in this game. Sage Evans looks inside, deflected. So we'll stay with Queensland North. Look back to the inbounder. Bond penetrating. Hit that little runner earlier, but off the mark on this occasion.
You see that Adriana Francis is on the court now, sister to Kayla George. I hope I've got that information right.
Now, Bond in transition. Goes back, kicks it out to Babongi. Steps through middle, lovely finish on the right hand. She moves to 17 points. Konstantopoulos back in the game, looks at that mid-range jump shot left open. Off the mark, Petkovic though, with a chance for second chance points. Kicks out to Gardner. Grieger, no hesitation. And why wouldn't she with the way she shot? But that one was a good 4 or 5 feet outside.
Great block out.
Evans. Open shot off the mark. And an SA Metro ball.
Now, if she had done a no-look, as if she was going to, if Adriana Francis had done a pass that or looked like she was going to pass it and then shot the 3, I'd go, definitely Kayla's sister. Or a pick and pop and nail a 3, definitely Kayla's sister.
Now, Queensland North have taken Monique Babongi out of the game here, you can see. Just managing those loads. Looking for something different here to close out this game. Coco Hodges now looks off that middle on ball. Set by Petkovic. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Grieger called for the travel. 3.5 minutes to play here. So regardless of the result here, obviously shaping up for an SA Metro victory here. They look poised to take the top spot in their pool. Both teams with a day off to recover though before the quarterfinals.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, South Australia have been averaging 79 points per game, so they're on target to sort of keep that average going.
Strong move from Evans, fouled on her way to the bucket. 2 free throws coming up for her. From Cairns Basketball, one of 4 Cairns players on this Queensland North roster. And a timeout called here by SA Metro. 21-point lead, 3 minutes to play, so game looks well poised for them at this point here, Laurie. What do you think Coach Holland wants to chat about here?
Well, a lot of times people sort of wonder, why would you call a timeout when there's 3 minutes to go and you're 21 points up? But the reality is that anytime you can have a learning experience for your players, especially in tournament play where you know your games are going to get harder and harder, you want to set things up. So she might be saying to them, all right, coming out of this, we want to run this particular set and look for these options out of it. Defensively, we might want to throw, you know, whatever it is. But just trying a couple of different things and seeing how they are actually listening and taking things out of timeouts are really important. And it's a skill players need to have where they really stay focused and can execute what the coach has asked in a timeout stepping on the court.
Absolutely, and particularly prudent at this level. If you're an under-9s coach watching, you may not want to call the timeout with 1 second to go when your team's up by 40 to try and, you know, run a play. But within this context, absolutely,
yes.
it's a long week and it's a journey for these players to find those learning experiences as they go. Sage Evans back at the line. Shooting over the music in the stadium, not usually what you've got to put up with as a player, but
I spoke to Lynn Howard, the SA Metro coach, prior to coming here. And, you know, I always ask the coaches, what do you hope your team does? You know, because there's always what you hope and what actually happens. But you know, her comment was that she hoped that they played quick with pace, that they were able to play up the floor, recognize, you know, some of the things that the defense gave them, which I think in this context of this game, they've done a really good job of reading what the defense has given them and hitting the open player and making that extra pass. So I think she would be very, very happy with her team after today's game.
brought down now. Ella Watson into the game for Queensland North. Early foul in transition there by Bond. That's her second of the game. Fouls of no consequence really at this point, although one more would put SA Metro in the bonus. And they have been very good. They've shot 80% from the free throw line in this afternoon's game.
Yes, that's a stat that I very much like.
Not exactly, necessarily a surprise with SA teams. You know you're going to get strong shooters generally with their teams, but they've been very poised at the line today as they reset for this baseline play. Bring it back in through Hodges. Grieger looks open. They've given her some space. Off the mark. Had a nice little putback and finish from Chelsea Portis. Evans. Nice take, couldn't quite come up with it. Petkovic, nice pass to trigger the transition with Hodges.
South Australia have taken care of the ball very well this game. So far they have 15 turnovers, and that's also then reflected in the number of shots that they've taken this game. They've had certainly more opportunities. They've taken 80 shots compared to Queensland's 60-some shots. So, you know, it's a big difference, 67 shots. So it's a big difference when you take care of the ball and get a good possession. Having said that, great three-point shot.
Great three-point shot from Sage Evans. That comes off the back of back-to-back buckets for Chelsea Portis, and she became the 5th SA Metro player to hit double digits. It's a great even spread of scoring for SA Metro today. 1 minute to go in this game. Very secure at their top spot here in their pool. Nice back cut and the finish.
Again, good read, which is what the coach wanted, you know, reacting to what the defense gives you.
Salandra has been flashing through the key there. I reckon that's a third or fourth basket just off that cut down the seam.
Yeah.
Exciting to watch. 8 seconds on the shot clock here for Queensland North. Kick out for the three.
Yes.
Hannah Jensen, bottom major from Mackay, comes up with a nice three. That'll help her confidence coming into the next game.
Well, speaking of next games, Darren, following this game, it's not on KO, but you can certainly follow it in live stats and later on the YouTube channel. Another game to decide the first in Pool B. So we'll have Queensland South versus SA Country. So that's another game that's very important as to where you finish on the ladder.
Absolutely. Shout out to Casey Reel and that last bucket there from Forestville. Her first points of the afternoon. So presumably the last possession here for Queensland North. Shot off the mark from Ella Watson. From Townsville, the only player in this Queensland North squad not from Mackay or Cairns. As they play out this game, smiles from Chelsea Portis. The captain, as SA Metro take an emphatic victory here in the end, 85 against Queensland North 62. They'll secure top spot of their pool and look forward to a quarter-final berth against fourth from the other pool. Laurie, thoughts on that game that we've just seen?
Well, Queensland, you know, they'd be disappointed in that score line, but they've got more games to come. They can address some things. They can look at the scouts there. They can make some adjustments. For SA Metro, well, I think they'd be very happy with that game. I thought they played some great basketball, great team basketball, shared it around, read the defense, looked like they did what their coach asked them to do, and they would be very confident moving to the pointy end.
Thank you very much, Laurie. You're back with me very shortly in half an hour's time. Don't go anywhere. We've got our second game of the day here live and free on KO. It's the under-16 boys, Western Australia Metro versus Queensland South. Two more teams fighting to be the top of their table, heading out of pool play.